Otufuor Osei Tutu II. At the one-week observation of his mother's passing, the Queen Mother of the Ashanti Kingdom, Nana Efiakobisewa Ampem II, passed on a week ago at Menchia Palace. She reigned for 39 years.
Otufuor has been receiving guests starting early today. Those who have graced the Menchia Palace include the Esama of the Benin Kingdom in Nigeria, Gabriel Osaweru Egbinedion. Many describe the late Queen Mother as a repository of wisdom. The Achimpemhene, Ohineba Eduse Poku, says her tact and swift delivery of justice has quelled many conflicts and solidified the unity of the kingdom. The king is expected to name a successor after a 40-day period. Ohineba Eduse Poku tells Love News she will receive a funeral befitting a royal of the Asante Kingdom.
The Asantehemaa of Ashanti is the matriarch. And if I use the word matriarch, it stands for being the mother of all the royals of the various households which make up the Ashanti royal household, and Ashanti, should I say, instrument selection, instrument of the Asantehemaa household. So almost all Ashantis must take her demise as a personal loss.
So what will be the succession plan? Who chooses a new queen?
The king. It says preserved. The king is preserved. No one has a say in it.
He chooses from a specific family?
Yes, from the royal household, and I trust he will make the right choice.
Any qualification, any criteria he uses?
No. You don't need to have a PhD or a master's in any degree, but we believe that you make the right choice.
After how many days is that choice made?
That will before the 40th day.
He, however, debunks rumors of what he calls age-old beheading rituals that people claim accompany such funerals. He says Asante has for many years abolished such practices.
You know, you may hear what people are saying, that when you go out, there will be beheading of head and all that. That's not true. That's not true. I think the Ashantis discarded those heinous customs years back, but we just mourn her in the true sense of the word, mourning. We don't use human sacrifices to express our sorrow. No.
Thousands are expected to gather at Jabrem at the Menchia Palace to observe the 1 week of her death.
And our man Erastus Osaredonko is following this particular event. He joins us live on the line. Erastus, I can imagine the mood there at Menchia Palace, but bring us up to speed on what's happening.
Come inside one of the vehicles here to be able to speak to you, to get a clear sound, because all around me we have drummers, we have performers, we have a number of things going on at the Menchia Palace right now. When you enter the Menchia Palace, to your right, we have lined up on that line a number of organizations and institutions who have pitched camp here to have a full participation. Then when you get towards the Asantehemaa Palace proper, that is where you have all the Queen Mothers of Ashanti region seated, clad in their black and red traditional cloths, seated and paying their last respect. You have a number of what we call in the Ashanti parlance, Enyom Kroku, those who perform in the local Akan dirges, performing over there. Then when you enter the palace proper, we have an enclave of a number of people, hundreds of people, watching priests and priestesses perform in that enclave. And it's being supervised by the spiritual leader of the Ashanti Kingdom, that is the Sumankwahine himself. And so a number of priests, mind you, Asantehene controls all the priests, the shrines in Ashanti region, and so many of them are represented here fully, possessed by their individual deities dancing to traditional music here. Then when you enter full to the park where the funeral itself will be organized, we have days mounted for the president and his entourage and African emissaries who are coming, and other days as well. So it's a packed place here at the Menchia Palace.
Erastus, beyond what you've spoken about, what are some of the other traditional performances we should expect during such occasions? I know that when you spoke to the Asanteman earlier, he was talking about the traditional authority abolishing beheading of people, for instance.
Well, we are having quite a number of arrangements today, and Otufuor will sit in state by midday. But currently, from where I'm standing, you could see that they are mounting the umbrellas according to the seating arrangement of the various clans and by their tradition, the powers that be within the Asante Kingdom, how they will sit encircling Otufuor in the middle. They are arranging that. But other arrangements have also been made. We have other representation from other parts of Ghana in other regions. Those who owe allegiance to the Asante Kingdom are also coming in resplendent in their various traditional regalia. They will be filing past when Otufuor is seated to greet him before we start. And so all those people are also here. Then we have ordinary people who are also trooping in their numbers in black and red to catch a glimpse of what is happening. And so we do understand that.
Hello? It seems we've lost Erastus Saridonko on the line that he's reporting on what is happening in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, the one-week celebration of the death of the Asantehemaa there, and we'll bring you more in our subsequent bulletins. Let's move on to other stories, and the much-awaited Supreme Court encounter between businessman Alfred Woyome and his biggest adversary, Martin Amidu, scheduled for Thursday, appears to have been botched. At least for the time being, lawyers of the businessman have filed a writ at the highest court seeking a review of an earlier decision that would have allowed the citizen vigilante to cross-examine Woyome over the controversial 51 million cedi judgment debt paid him in 2010. The writ has pitched both the Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Martin Amidu in one corner as defendants in the case.
I feel that the Supreme Court is against me. But we will use legal means, and if we come again, let everybody pay attention.
That was on Monday when Mr. Woyome gave his thoughts about the upcoming deposition with Martin Amidu. Mr. Amidu had hinted that efforts would be made to scuttle his plans to question Mr. Woyome in an attempt to identify beneficiaries of the 51 million cedis judgment debt. It seemed his prediction came through, but it seems he was wrong about the government taking that step. Yesterday, a private legal practitioner, David Ametefe, and Mr. Woyome's lawyers filed processes in relation to the case. Central University Faculty of Law lecturer Yao Opong explains.
Mr. Metefe's process, it is a writ. It is a fresh suit in which he is seeking some interpretation on a number of provisions of the Constitution. For example, whether or not a single judge has jurisdiction to determine what it is a constitutional matter. That is, whether or not, for example, a private person is entitled in law to enforce the judgment given in favor of the state, and that will go through the processes normally. But Mr. Woyome has filed two applications. One is for the discharge or reversal of the decision of the single judge, and the other one, which is coming on, is for the stay of proceedings.
So today, the courts will have to look at the reliefs being sought and determine if there is merit, which may well stall Mr. Amidu's plans to question Mr. Woyome.
Joseph Akble is in court. He will bring us the latest on this particular case on the Midday News. Still at the court, pressure group Occupy Ghana is challenging the Attorney General to prosecute all public officials and private individuals involved in the 3 million Ghana cedi bus branding scandal. The pressure group, in a 20-page dossier submitted is asking the Office of the Attorney General to repudiate the illegal Smarties contract. According to private legal practitioner Ace Kojo Anand Ankoma, AFRC Decrees 58 on government contracts where corporates can be jailed 10 years must be applied on all guilty officials involved in the Smarties bars branding scandal.
Occupy Ghana has today submitted to the Attorney General a 20-page full dossier with an appendix, which is a chronology of events, based on documents received from the Attorney General pursuant to our suit titled Occupy Ghana and Another versus Attorney General, requesting further legal action concerning the 2015 illegal Smarties bars branding contract. The requested legal actions are as follows. 1, repudiation, that is the extinguishing of the illegal contract and recovery of all monies paid. 2, criminal prosecution of the various public servants. We agree that the Attorney General is the only person who can prosecute or refuse to prosecute, or take action, civil action, or refuse to take civil action in the name of the Republic. But the Constitution demands that this authority be exercised fairly, candidly, without arbitrariness, capriciousness, or bias, and above all, in the interest of the Republic. And this is particularly important when officers of the state are suspected of wrongdoing. We respectfully call on the AG to take the steps we have proposed. If the AG decides not to prosecute or take the action, we demand that Ghanaians be given full explanation as to why the AG, maybe the current one or maybe the new one, will not take action. Else, we will be compelled to file a right of information action, and as Martin Amidu has taught us, we will all become citizen vigilantes, and we are heading right back to court. Because Martin Amidu has taught us that where there's been an illegal contract, the courts are prepared to set it aside. That is why they set aside the Woyome and Waterville contracts. If the Attorney General is unwilling, unprepared, unable, or afraid to work, we will go to court and set this contract aside. Look, the contract is illegal. It must be repudiated. Public officials and private individuals acted to breach the act. There was no transparency. There was a sham tender process to the fact that there was even a tender. Officials failed to protect the public from fraud and wrongdoing. They breached public policy by honoring contracts obtained through illegal procurement processes. The illegal contract cannot be honored or enforced, and any person who has chopped the money must vomit it. We are requesting the Attorney General to extinguish the contract in full. Smarties must, the money Smarties has refunded is not enough. Every dime must be refunded. People will ask, why are you having this so close to the election? I'll tell you what. We are serving notice on the next government, whichever party it comes from, that as for this matter, we will not let it lie. We will not let this lie ever. They should recover every dime of our money. And the people who did this, the ministers, the directors and chief directors of the ministries who signed those lying letters, the people who are running Smarties, who benefited from this, there's sufficient law to jail them. Unless and until this nation makes an example, people will steal our money with impunity. Well, maybe what the animals have eaten, they can eat. But going into the next government, we will not allow this to happen. We must make these actions painful.
You're watching News Desk on Joy News, your election headquarters. Stay with us. We'll be back with more. You're Welcome back to news. There's 250 men and women from the Ghana Police Service have been trained in a 7-week program for a peace mission to South Sudan. At a closing ceremony for the recruits in Accra Wednesday, the men displayed skills learned from the American trainers. Commanding officer of the formed police unit of the Ghana Police Service, Chief Superintendent Hamza Yakubu, reiterated the recruits are not for monitoring elections as claimed by the NPP.
The personnel passing out today are the second batch to have been trained by the IPPOs to offer service in war-torn countries. It is, however, sad to note that for some unknown reasons, a section of Ghanaians have conveniently been peddling lies that they are privy to information that these trainees are being prepared to be deployed for illegal electoral functions. That is absolutely false. I wish to remind all those who have peddled this porous rumor to ask God for forgiveness, because we are going to serve our God and country.
U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Robert Jackson, advised the personnel to utilize their skills effectively and light the flag of Ghana high.
To the members of the formed police unit, let me say this. You will represent Ghana in an international setting, working with police officers, military, civilians, and host nation citizens to help establish and maintain peace in South Sudan. I congratulate you on your graduation. I know you will represent Ghana well and learn well from your experiences so that you can bring back new skills when you return to Ghana.
Now, the National Peace Council says it is alarmed by the practice of some teachers in the Ashanti region who abandon the classroom to engage in political activity. The council says it has information some teachers use student contact hours for radio discussion, and some instances they extend a conversation to the classroom. Regional Secretary Reverend Father George Jesse Ejay has been speaking with the humanitarian on issues of concern to the council ahead of next month's polls.
The council's concern is part of signs picked by the Regional Election Early Warning and Response Group ahead of next month's general elections. Officials say they have received reports of both basic and second cycle schools involved in the practice of sacrificing academic work for political campaigning. The council warns it may be forced to drag some identified culprits to appropriate authorities for sanctions for violating the political party's law after it received several reports on the conduct of the teachers. Act 574 requires neutrality of public office holders in political activities. Reverend Father George Jesse Ejay is the secretary to the Ashanti Regional Peace Council.
It is very serious when you look at what is happening in even Ashanti region. We are from Ashanti region and we are talking about that. Some people can even use more than 1 hour talk about politics. Civil servants are in public service, and if anybody is a public officer, the character that he must exhibit must go according to the law, because the whole issue of election is law. So if you use a platform that you have with these innocent children who can also discern and learn, and you infuse them with your political ideology in classroom instead of teaching them, we have really identified many of them. If they continue doing that, that's our advice as our advisory role, we think that we would take them to the right quarters so that the law will deal with them.
The Peace Council is also unhappy about the conduct of some men of God and traditional rulers who are actively involved in politics and making all manner of prediction. It describes as embarrassment clashes between political party opponents and eccentric comments by some leading politicians.
Now, the police is deploying more personnel to Ballot districts in the northern region to beef up security in that area. The Action Fellows report making rounds that suspected Ivorian rebels have taken control of 2 Ghanaian communities that share border with neighboring Ivory Coast, making it difficult for the Electoral Commission to organize elections for some 1,500 residents there. The two border communities have reportedly been a sanctuary for former President Laurent Gbagbo's backed rebel gang Young Patriot after he was forced out of office in 2011. But speaking to Joy News, the Northern Regional Police PRO ASP Beniza Tete dismissed the report, urging the media to discard the rumors. And let's get on the phone lines and speak to the Regional Commander DC OP Ken Yeboah. Good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Right, we don't have Ken Yeboah yet, but we do know that the police have sent men to these two communities earlier. When the PRO spoke to us, he said that they were patrolling those two communities and they would ensure that they are able to vote, as in the people there are able to vote come next 12 days. Now, the company contracted to print this year's presidential ballot papers, InnoLink Limited, is expected to burn the printing plate used to print the presidential ballot paper today. Earlier, the company denied report of security breach in its systems. The claim the security breach was raised by the New Patriotic Party's Director of Elections, Martin J. Mensah-Kosa, citing information supplied by the party's representative deployed to observe the printing. According to him, a printing plate from the company which looked like that of the presidential ballot had been smuggled out of the printing house. The management of InnoLink has confirmed the movement of a printing plate. It says it was not for the presidential ballot and there was nothing untoward about it. The company's managing director, Kingsley Kofi Addo, told a news conference the printing plate was given out to a revoked another printing firm following a request by that company for assistance with work it was also doing for the Electoral Commission. He says the supposed plate has since been returned to InnoLink.
We wish to state that our own preliminary investigation has established the following facts. No plate of the presidential ballot had been given out by any officer of InnoLink Ghana Limited. Indeed, as we will soon show you, all the plates used in the printing of the presidential and parliamentary ballot papers are still intact. They are available for observation. They will be destroyed in the presence of the security agencies and party reps tomorrow, 24th November 2016. At around 1:52 p.m. on Monday, 21st of November 2016, InnoLink was approached by Aerovote Limited to assist it with the exposure of only one printing plate for the printing of the statement of poll. And the plate in question was black plate. And that Aerovote request to us was necessitated by their difficulty encountering in their darkroom or Lato department, a temporary situation. Going to UK to expose this plate due to exigency of time owing to the urgency of the request. The management of InnoLink Limited consented to assist Aerovote to expose the plate, since InnoLink remains one of the few security printing companies in Ghana with plate baking equipment. We wish to point out that as far as InnoLink is concerned, there was no security breach. Our production manager was cleared by our security before he handed over the plate to the Aerovote official.
Let's get the latest on this story from my colleague Fred Smith, who is witnessing the burning process and joins me live on the phone with more. Fred, has the burning process started yet, and where is it taking place?
Well, it's not started. The company has completed the printing of the ballot papers for Greater Accra and Volta region as we speak, and they also printed the notice of poll for these two regions. What they're doing this morning is a defacing of the printing plate and other materials they use in the printing process so they can move it to a site for destruction later this morning.
What else can you report, Fred?
Well, all the party reps are present and supervising or observing the defacing process. All of them have spoken to the NDC, the NPP, the PPP. They are all satisfied with the process so far. There are also National Security and Electoral Commission officials who are also supervising, and they've all spoken to me, not on record though, but they say they are satisfied with the process so far.
Thank you very much. Fred Smith is editor here at Joy News, and he is observing the burning process of the papers by InnoLink. You're still watching News Desk on Joy News, your election headquarters. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll bring you the latest in the world of business, plus other stories. On Joy News. Shortly, we'll bring you the latest in the world of sports. But first, a peaceful Ghana is needed for a successful election. But a surge in land litigation cases in the Trobo constituency have the potential of degenerating into violence if security services do not find an amicable solution to the many issues cropping up about land ownership. Residents of Amanfo Ridge say they will resist any attempt to demolish their buildings on the 30th of November, following what they say is a fictitious order from a high court to a private developer to have their properties demolished. The aggrieved residents contend they legally obtained permit to erect their buildings on the disputed land. Following notice of an impending demolition on the said lands on the 30th of November, residents are vowing to clash with anyone who will step foot on the land to carry out the exercise.
We are here in the Amanfo Ridge neighborhood here in the Trobo constituency. This land we're standing on is very contentious. It is a disputed land, and this red sign that you see over here, this red bandana you see over here, is proof of how cursed this land is and how people are fighting over the ownership of this land. Now, this structure that you see over here was demolished on the 15th of October 2015. Residents here say they've been served a notice that there's another demolition going to happen on this land come the 30th of November. But residents here say they are not going to take it lightly with any private developer who stepped foot here on this land to embark on a second demolition exercise. Residents here organized a demonstration earlier today calling on the private developer to halt that intention of demolishing this property. They petitioned the Gan West Municipal Chief Executive. They also followed up with the Gan West Divisional Police Command. Ahinkra Yeboah is the president of the Resident Association here at Amanfo Ridge.
Exactly 1 year now that we saw one Danny Baba basically saying that this land belongs to him, that he has obtained it from Amanfo family for about 30 years ago. And we've informed our grantors, saying we have informed them that this is what you saw one Danny Baba and this is what he's talking about. And when we have informed them, they made it clear to us that the land belongs to him. And he brought some guys, some chiefs at Abiasi to court, which is Stephen Lati, Jesse Ashon, New Doekwa, and Kotokulati to court that they have trespassed his 70.28. His 70.28.
So
and
wait,
that land is not for
all of these buildings were demolished.
That's right.
Because the man says that this land belongs to him.
That's right.
And you talk about a court order. Tell me more about that court order.
The court order is when we went to the court about 8 months ago, the court asked him to provide the defense to the court. That's a normal process that they want to pass him. But when the chief brought him to court concerning this demolition, about 8 months now, he refused to provide the defense. Then the court has restrained him for coming here. You get my point? And that order came on July 2016. And about 1 week ago, we are here when he brought a notice from a court, that is a June order, that he has renewed the order of demolition. that he's coming to demolish our building again. And we say no. So far as court has restrained you on July, and you have this order in June, we don't think that this order is working. And one thing is, the chief brought him that the order that he's holding has obtained by fraud. You get my point? So the court asked him to provide that document. One, his land title certificate, letter of administration, and those that he brought to the court before that he has obtained that judgment with the demolition order. And he refused to provide it to the court.
So about 50 buildings were demolished.
That's right.
On this land.
And I was having three apartments here.
So wait, this is your building actually?
That's right. One is here. This is whole apartment.
Okay.
And the other one too, here, is the same apartment. I was having one here when people were living inside. And the time that they broke this building, people were running away. They left all their clothes.
But the question would be, do you have the right permits to be?
That's right. That's right. Yes. Yes.
Where did you acquire a permit?
I have acquired it at the district assembly. But they are not talking about the building permit. It's not the building permit that he's talking about.
What exactly is he talking about?
What he's talking about is, he said he owed this land. When they came, they didn't say that we are built on the road or other thing. He said he owned all 391.5 acres.
And you're also arguing that you rightfully own this land.
That's right.
You claim that you bought it from the Amanfrom
family. From Amanfrom family. And when we went to the Lands Commission, it has clarified that the land belongs to Amanfrom family. We made a search. We have so many searches there. That has confirmed that the land belongs to Amanfrom family.
So now, he says he has an order. The private developer says he has an order to come and demolish the buildings here on the 30th of November.
That's right.
You are also disagreeing.
That's right.
And you've organized a demonstration to petition the MC.
That's right. That if he want to make an attempt.
So what exactly are you saying is going to happen on the 30th of November?
When we come back, George Adu Jr. will join us with the latest in sports. Stay with us.